Dear students, welcome to today's lecture on New World Information and Communication World Order, which is called NWICO and McBride Commission, which is an important commission in global communication studies. I am Dr. Krishna Shankar Kusuma, Associate Professor at AJK Mass Communication Research Center, Jamia Millia Islamia. Let us understand the background of the setting up of the McBride Commission. Media plays an important role in the development of the nation, but when the media provides biased information, it will cripple the development of any nation's initiatives. Between the nations, the mightier countries or so-called first world countries' news agencies and media organizations always dominate with their versions of events, news, but not the balanced flow of news. That means one-way flow of news between the third world and first world countries. Third world countries observed that they are deprived of the free and fair flow of information and representation. There is monopoly of news by the first world countries' news agencies. The Western news agencies' agenda of news flow is biased and imbalanced. The initiative was also prompted by the non-aligned movement, which is called NAM, and the United Nations backed New International Economic Order NIEO, where a group of countries envisions being free of economic dependency on developing countries. In the similar lines, the New World Information and Communication Order was formed, as it felt that disequilibrium to favoring few and ignoring other countries. Further, it felt important to work on decolonizing the information. Before NWICO, several initiatives were taken to strengthen the unbiased free flow of information among NAM countries. That means to free the countries to have their own way of telling stories and have their own infrastructure. For example, non-aligned news agencies pool found in 1975 is one of the initiatives. Now, let us understand the New World Information and Communication Order, where the non-aligned movement, where a pool of countries came together which they do not want to be part of any bigger countries. So, they wanted to develop their own infrastructure, advocated for the New World Communication and Information Order, is endorsed by UNESCO and set up the International Commission for the Study of Communication Problems under the chairmanship of Nobel Peace Prize laureate Sean McBride, or we can say Sean McBride. This commission is known as McBride Commission. The commission was created in 1977 at the resolution of the 19th session of UNESCO held in Nairobi. The purpose of the McBride Commission: the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization UNESCO played an important role in establishing this McBride Commission to study the totality of communication problems in modern societies within the countries and across the countries, within the third world countries and between third world and first world countries, and in a nutshell across the globe. It was not only dealt with free flow of information and communication, but free and balanced flow of information, which is very, very important to address, and communication in taking care of the needs of the developing countries or third world countries. The commission had a total of 16 members representing different countries. These members are: the chairman is Sean McBride from Ireland, Elie Abel from USA, Hubert Merry from France, Eliba Ekonjo from Zaire, Gabriel Marquez from Colombia, Mostar Lubis from Indonesia, and Mustafa from Tunisia, Betty Zimmerman from Canada, Michio Nagai from Japan, and Frez Isaac from Nigeria. Bogdan is from Yugoslavia, and Gamil from Egypt, and Jonas Pronk is from Netherlands, and Joan from Chile, and from India also B.G. Varghese, and also we have another member Leonard Jamatin from USSR, and Jamatin was replaced by Sergei Losev during the study. You can find a detailed review at the end of the report by him. What are the issues that this commission have identified? The commission believed that the democratization system was disrupted through problems such as undemocratic political systems, bureaucratic administrative systems, technology dominance of a single individual or news agency or a country, expulsion of disadvantaged groups, minorities, and problems such as literacy and semi-literacy. The third world countries are lacking means of producing media content, which results in depending on the content and news information dominant countries. If you look at review report, there are 8 brainstorming sessions in 42 days were held between December 1977 and November 1979 in France, Sweden, Yugoslavia, India, and Mexico. In India, in New Delhi itself, studying the new information communication technologies and internet were studied and accepted by India as well as other countries. So, with the assistance of Swedish government, an international seminar on infrastructure of news collection and dissemination was organized in Stockholm in April 1978, which had an astonishing 1 lakh representatives of news agencies, broadcasting organizations, major newspaper, research institutes, and international non-governmental organizations of regional or worldwide scope, which has included all stakeholders, not only journalists, academicians, administrative people, and all kinds of stakeholders who are part of it to understand the issues of infrastructure, freedom, and other issues. The report was divided into 5 parts, each part further divided into different chapters. Part 1, Communication and Society, which discussed the issues of imbalance, role of UNESCO, and the historical trajectory of the communication importance in third world countries especially, and the issues were presented in 3 chapters were namely historical dimension, the contemporary dimension of the communication, and the international dimensions of the communication and information. Why there is a need of cooperation between different countries when we are dealing with communication and information for the press. Part 2 of the report is about the communication issues existed in 1970s. So, this has presented in 6 chapters, namely means of communication, expanding infrastructures, integration, changing patterns, and concentration and integration of participants, and understanding the disparities. The stress is laid on the development of the infrastructure, communication infrastructure, be it satellites or internet or cameras. The importance of communication infrastructure, local media requirements, importance of breaking monopoly. The media ownership is questioned here to establish free and independent media organizations, sharing of resources both locally, nationally, internationally, without any disparities, without any disparity in the sense without caste, creed or gender biases within the countries and among the countries were discussed in this. The stress is laid not only on the quantitative development of the infrastructure but also the qualitative improvement of the media facilities. That means a holistic inclusive approach in covering the issues. Part 3 of the report is about the problems and issues of common concern, which has presented in 6 chapters, namely flaws in communication flow, identifying what are the barriers of communication flow and or why there is only one way flow of communication, what are the issues are covered there, why certain issues are not covered. Dominance in communication content is another chapter, Decentralization of communication, the importance of decentralization of communication is talked about, and another important chapter is about images of the world, how a third world countries issues are covered in the first world, what they take it as important, what they do not cover it. The public opinion is another one, where how the public opinion is shaped. The chapters identify issues of dominance through media content by first world countries, the market driven dominance and its impact on free flow of information, and most importantly the cultural alienation, in the sense the stereotyping of certain cultural and maybe goods and services and image of certain countries and people. The chapters also raised questions on stereotypical propaganda portrayed about third world issues in the context of war, poverty, rights of women, human rights, and also the shaping of public opinion. Part 4, the institutional and professional framework, has 6 chapters, namely communication policies, material resources, research contributions, the professional communicators. So, in this actually the research contribution for technological as well as quality of news information is stressed. Further chapters like rights and responsibilities of journalists, the norms of professional conduct. So, in this the focus is importance of politics of research, make it free from the bias, and also researching on the media and communication infrastructure, and also they identified several shortcomings of research and how it can be improved with the emerging technological changes to have a more sustained and strong communication and information flow. The importance is also given on the journalist well-being, journalist rights and journalist duties and professional ethics. It has stressed establishing not only the infrastructure, but also professional code and conduct for working in difficult zones like war and other difficult areas. But they have also said that every country should have their own press councils and media councils is one of the important recommendation. Part 5 talks about the communication tomorrow, and in this summing up of the conclusions drawn and suggestions and recommendations were presented in this, and some of the major suggestions include the increased dependency should be reduced, and the countries should establish themselves to democratize the communication process and sharing of information through international collaboration, and protection of journalists is also one of the important suggestions. And also for content coverage, it is suggested that several neglected areas, both locally, regionally, nationally or internationally, there are many neglected areas which need to be given ample space. Now, look at recommendations of the Commission in a more detailed way. In order to remove these hurdles, the Commission recommended a number of steps, which are as follows: strengthening independence and self-reliance, social consequences and new tasks, professional integrity and standards, democratization of communication and fostering international cooperation. Various solutions like diverse traditions, social, economic and cultural life patterns are there, and needs and possibilities have been adopted by the countries around the world, and all these communications were reviewed. That means, all communications are cultural specific, linguistic specific, and that need to be taken care. The diversity of communication is valuable and it is should be respected, and however, it is necessary to establish common goals and common values in the field of communication. The contemporary situation advocates and demands for a better, just and more democratic social order with fundamental human rights. Human rights is also given large weightage in the whole document. Human rights of the journalists, human rights of covering of the conflict area people. These goals of communication are achieved in large part by free, open and balanced communication. According to this commission, the emphasis is on balancing the flow of information and removing inequalities in communication and its infrastructure. Developing countries were asked to reduce their self-reliance and adopt a renewal system in the field of communication. So, if you look at the infrastructure, then the internet speed, even today there is lot of disparity. Bella Modi is one of the scholar who has identified the bandwidth politics. Commission is advocating and recommending for more equitable and orderly communication system, and Commission further argues that all communities and nations have a common collective right in communication, and freedom of information, the right to receive and provide information, is a fundamental right of every human being. Not only human being, but as a nation, as a local government, it is their basic fundamental right to communicate. The inherent nature of communication is meant to ensure democracy within countries and democratic relations with other countries. Its main context is to democratize communication at the national and international level, as well as communication plays a big role in democratizing every society. Its main objective is to develop comprehensive national communication policies linked to social, cultural and economic development objectives. These policies should be developed through extensive consultation with all relevant sectors and adequate mechanism for wider participation in their organized social groups. All countries should insist on giving greater priority to communication in the planning and funding of the international community. We have laws for the society, laws for the finance, but we need to have a communication policies. Thereby, every country keeps on developing and changing its communication patterns with new technologies according to its circumstances. We have a Telegraph Act in India, now we have Information Technology Act. We are updating, but we are also building a framework to make it more equitable, but this has to be done keeping in the mind of tradition and local culture. As a result, it will strengthen the integrity, independence and self-relevance of the country. The other recommendations of this report is to provide a sound framework to the world for the development of new information and communication systems. An attempt has been made to bring about a significant change in its implementation within the country and between other countries in the field of communication. Balancing the national information and communication system is challenging enough to reduce inequalities between nations in terms of social, economic and national and international based on culture, technology and other areas. It is not just only politics will be communicated, only information about the finance or economy will be communicated, but also about the exchange of cultures and exchange of traditions are important. And here this will help great benefit in the cross cultural communication. There should not be any privilege given to fewer countries or organizations in communication. So, social participation must be included at all levels of communication. This report advocates new approaches to do away with all stereotypical views with monopoly in communication or dominance in communication, and promoting diversity of coverage of issues to act with full respect for the dignity and equality of people of every society, color, in India caste, religion, class, language. So, here and also the country when we are representing our content in other countries' news agencies, and this will bring a greater understanding of plurality. Commission suggests encouraging content production and language specific media is very important. Every country is a combination of different ethnicities, dialects, languages. For example, India, we have diversity of languages that represent each culture. You can find much more varieties of dialects and cultures and traditions and languages in African continent, for example. So, countries should develop automated translation of local language content to make it available for the other cultures or other cultures of within country and other nations, so that a cross cultural communication and understanding can be established. So, communication policy and framework at different levels, all the governments, especially emerging countries, must adopt comprehensive communication policies that are connected to their entire socio-political and cultural sphere of life, and all stakeholders must be included in the process. The development of infrastructure should include overall communication and media systems, which include television, radio, books, print media, and establishing the news agencies also. The news agencies should be well networked with regional, national and international agencies and media organizations, and development of comprehensive radio networks capable of reaching out to the remotest of the rural areas. So, India's All India Radio and Doordarshan, it has a wider reach. I mean, that is one of the biggest mass mediums we can say. Radio has more than 90% reach. The Commission laid the importance of developing community radio and other alternative community media. In a nutshell, it is not only advocating that you should develop only internet or you should develop only television. No, you should develop only people specific, whatever the community required media should be developed. So that it can cater all walks of people. Training is an important part of capacity building. The cooperation between nations should be there to develop the training facilities as well as imparting the training of journalists. Rights and responsibilities of journalists in safeguarding their safety, the Commission has talked about it. Of course, for journalist safety and code of conduct and professional ethics, there are a number of commissions and conferences have been held, but this is one commission which has also talked as specific chapters are there in the report to talk about their rights, responsibilities and professional conduct. And also access to information. If you want to produce content, a journalist should access to the war, access to the difficult areas, access to the authorities, and also protection of journalists is very important. They are become vulnerable, and here these are the important things which helps the journalism to foster, bring content. And in his essay, Carly Nordenstein says the journalist operates in the contemporary world within the framework of a movement towards new international relations in general and new information order in particular. This new order, understood as an integral part of the new international economic order, is aimed at the decolonization and democratization of the field of information and communication. The journalist has a specific obligation to promote the process of democratization of international relations in the field of information, in safeguarding the rights of the peaceful, and also they play an important role in peace communication. And not only this, the Commission also talked about not monopolizing the media production, and also they said transnationalization, and the other aspect is that a lot of criticism also it received over a period of time, because the third world countries may not always focusing on the free flow of information, but they are focusing on the establishing communication networks and addressing the poverty. The commission is not only received a large amount of support, but also a certain amount of criticism. Stevenson Robert argues that all third world countries' priority is not the balanced flow of information. Any large scale flow of information constitutes a threat to fragile third world cultures. A more pressing problem is to help the information poor part of the world develop its indigenous communication capabilities. This problem was that the new world generates the majority of new information in the globe, and as a result the flow of information will continue to be dominated by a few information culture. The relevance of the communication current scenario, where the social media and technology giants are taking a large amount of content in their hands, and with the help of algorithm, with the help of newer technologies, they are controlling the politics, they are controlling the war, and they are controlling the communication processes. Finally, in conclusion, report is accepted in 1980 by the UNESCO, and a large number of countries they have accepted, and this document remains as one of the guiding principle for establishing the better communication and egalitarian infrastructure, both qualitatively and quantitatively. And the report is famously known as Many Voices, One World Towards a New, More Just and More Efficient World Information and Communication Order. So, many voices and one world. So, they were trying to bring plurality, and in the words of the chairman, McBride says, largely representative of the ideological, political, economic and geographical spectrum, this report has provided intellectual justification for the development of the global communication system, and the members of the NWICO consider this report to be a fundamental document. And finally, the report is well received by all the countries, and previously some of the countries they have rejected, but later on they have become part of it, and which resulted in starting of the international program for the development of communication. And further there are a number of such commissions have come, but this particular commission played a comprehensive role in bringing out a wide variety of issues before the developing nations. And thank you for watching. I am sure you have understood the topic, and namaskar.